We got the return of Kuma Elder. Saturn gets wrecked and Sirius, Luffy's up, and more happen in this insane chapter that honestly we deserved, and Kuma definitely deserved after all those flashback chapters. So make sure to stay tuned for that at the end of the chapter. Let me know if you agree that this is one of the most satisfying chapters in One Piece to date. Now chill the parking within and smash that like. But if you enjoy seeing One Piece reviews like this one on the channel, I want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the knock one by subscribing and hitting that notification to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future One Piece reviews and updates. And now without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So as we're about to see, this chapter has the very fitting title of, and I quote, "Thank you Daddy," end quote. And oh boy, it is every bit as emotional as it sounds after all this build-up. You'll know exactly what I mean soon. So we're told that the chapter starts for last one ended, and if you somehow missed it or don't remember, because it's been a while since I did the last one, we had one of the craziest cliffhangers last time. Bonnie was about to give up, apologizing to the memory of Kuma that she couldn't survive after everything he did for her. But then, arriving with more hype than Goku on Namek, Kuma saves her last minute and takes the hit. Not only that, he grabs one of Elder Saturn's giant spidey legs and prepares an epic punch. Kid Bonnie is crying, Saturn is worried, and that chapter cuts before the punch connects here. We're told we start with Saturn being shocked when he sees that Kuma is still moving. After all, we know that this shouldn't be possible, but I guess that's just the power of love. Although we do get another interesting explanation later. As we'll see at this point, it's revealed that Saturn already pressed the self-destruct switch a few days after the Revolutionary Army took Kuma's body from Original, so he understandably can't understand what's happening. This is definitely an intriguing mystery. Take your guesses now in the comments. How do you think this is possible? Even Vegapunk, who you could say might have pulled one over on Saturn thanks to himself, that there is no scientific explanation for why Kuma can still move or how he knows Bonnie is on Egghead. So that's the really crazy part. This is beyond the doing of Vegapunk, something he can't even explain. There's evidently a lot of shocking going around here, as we're told that Sanji, Frankie, and Atlas are shocked as well when they see Kuma. That must be an interesting reunion. After that time, he kind of wrecked them at Sebudai, although of course in retrospect, we know that he was just helping them out and is really the reason they made it this far. By the way, how crazy is it to go back and think about our thoughts way back when that happened and Luffy was freaking out about not being able to save his crew and how we feel about it now knowing Kuma's side of it? It's moments like that that make me really want to rewatch One Piece with someone who hasn't watched it, so I can just appreciate such moments again. I'm telling you guys, one of these days, a One Piece rewatch from the beginning might be in order. Add that to our list of podcasts. Anyways, back to the punch. And just before Kuma's punch reaches Saturn, Kuma remembers some parts of his life. We get nothing new, we're told. But still, this is huge. It confirms, yes, this is the real Kuma acting, not something else, and it makes everything that's about to happen so much more satisfying. Even the spoilers here can't help but call this two-page spread. We get super epic. Of course, it's the one where Kuma punches Saturn. You gotta think about Luffy punching the Celestial Dragon when you see this. After all, that moment was profound for Kuma as well, but it's taken up a notch here, and I didn't even know that would be possible. But it is because of how much Kuma and Bonnie suffered because of Saturn. And because Kuma is technically a slave, and Saturn is not just any Celestial Dragon, but one of the very evil and not just stupid evil Goddess. Besides Emu, who is a secret, this man might as well be the highest ranking in the world. He sits atop the Celestial system. And yet slave Kuma just wrecked him, paying him back as much as possible for everything he did to his daughter in that one emotional and climactic. This is one of the best chapters in One Piece just because of that punch. And if you agree, punch that like button like it's Saturn's despicable spider face. Back to the spoilers, and Kuma's punch crushes Saturn's face, but Saturn is still conscious and looks angry at Kuma. Nevertheless, Saturn is sent flying across the island. He hits some buildings and they fall on him, flattening him. Imagine how this all looks for the characters present, especially for the Marines. And Oda's thinking about that too, and shows us how all the Marines are shocked to see that a slave, as mentioned, just punched a member of the Goro, say. And it doesn't hurt that the punch is such an epic one. Either way, better than the time Bonnie stabbed him a bit. The big way that punch changes the situation on the battlefield is that for whatever reason, people can move again. Vegapunk, Sanji, Frankie, and Atlas realize they can move, and Sanji, of course, make sure to first ask, "Are you okay, Bonnie Chung?" Vegapunk asks everyone to bring Bonnie back to the Labo phase so they can escape. Clearly here the focus is still being placed on escaping, not winning, suggesting that might be what's coming. Perhaps Saturn will live to fight another day, but I sure hope not. I mean, we got 5 go to say why not take one out now. Vegapunk also gives us the important information that Kuma's self-destruct switch doesn't literally destroy Kuma's body since Vegapunk knows it can be weaponized. though by creating a mechanism that will switch off all of Kuma's function. So even him, in all his wisdom and knowledge, says Kuma shouldn't be able to move or take any order after the self-destruct switch is pressed. And he finally hints at another possibility, saying could it be that the Buccaneer race's special ability is not superhuman strength? In the past they have, end quote. And that's as far as he goes. But the implication could be that it's something different about the Buccaneer race that's making what should not be possible with a normal human possible here with Kuma. Then thankfully we get the moment where Bonnie thanks Kuma for everything she saw in Kuma's memory. Thank God she got this opportunity, because I know she wanted and needed it desperately. Then Kuma just hugs Bonnie. Such a heartwarming and important moment, and then he stops moving. So glad Oda gave us these moments. They were so important for Bonnie's closure and for our closure as well. Obviously the idea would be for Kuma to come back for good, but I'm just saying if he doesn't, then I'm super glad Oda gave this epic send-off. However, we know Oda wouldn't let Kuma end things instead of Luffy, especially with an opponent as hyped up as Saturn. So then our attention turns to Luffy after Kuma stops moving, and it turns out Luffy is not there anymore. The Marines can't find Luffy anywhere. He seems to have disappeared. In other words, Luffy is up from where he was, and at this point he could make his return any second. He was already fine enough to eat up. Last chapter, whether it was really Kizaru that fed him we'll get into soon enough, because Kizaru also comes back into play. We're giving a side note in the spoilers too that we don't get anything new from Zoro, Lucci and other Straw Hats except Sanjay, and same goes for the other Vegapunks except Vega, Punk, and Atlas. But I'm fine with the focus being concentrated here since this is easily the most hype area to be right now. Then we unfortunately get the inevitable Saturn emerges from the rubble. Not only is he alive, the right arm he lost and his left horn that he lost due to the buildings falling on him. In fact, his whole heavily injured body. It all recovers, black flames appear, and he regenerates seemingly 100. Now, like I said, we should not have expected Kuma to come in and finish off Saturn. It wouldn't make much sense, but he still got an amazing moment, which we should appreciate. He got to have a proper goodbye with Bonnie, and he did buy time so Luffy can get better and made it possible for the others to move again. So yes, Oda allowed Kuma to have the final epic moment he deserved, even while he's not seemingly going to use him as a save-the-day completely device again as he did at Sabudai. And honestly, I think that's a great way for Oda to tread the line. I think he did a great job orchestrating this part. Then Saturn asks Vegapunk, how could this happen with Kuma? To which the smartest mind in the world says, let's just say it's because of love. A moment you got to appreciate, especially after seeing the amount of love Kuma and Bonnie have for each other. Saturn tries to attack Kuma, but Sanji deflects Saturn's attack. He says you won't hurt Bonnie-chan again. Now if you'll remember, Sanji, after unlocking his new insane and smoke powers, hasn't really been challenged to the max yet. He wrecked and flexed on Queen and his 1.32 billion berry bounty. So this will probably be the first time we really see him push to his new limit. Still, don't expect to see Sanji taking down an Elder, but at least I can see him buying some time before Luffy gets there. Megafunk then orders Atlas to carry up Kuma to the lab of perhaps it's to respect his body, or perhaps he actually has a way to save him. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Meanwhile, Frankie isn't taking it easy either. He uses Radical Beam to attack Saturn. He says we owe Kuma a big favor. And yeah, by my account, now it's multiple favors. His attack pierces Saturn's body, but it seems like there's no use at this point as Saturn recovers easily from his attack, since he appears to be able to regenerate flesh. This could really be a problem, especially if the deal Haki attacks can also just be regenerated from that. I'm hoping Luby's Advanced Conqueror's Haki will be a different story. After all, Kaido said, Haki transcends all, including Ope Devil Fruit powers. Suddenly though, Kizaru appears and kicks Frankie away. Megapunk tells Kizaru off. So if that theory about Kizaru feeding Luffy was right, and I'm still not saying it wasn't, Kizaru still isn't ready to fully make his switch for whatever reason. Let's hope he's just waiting for the right time rather than actually being indecisive. Megapunk even says what I've been emphasizing this whole arc, and I quote, your heart can't withstand doing this much longer. What a sad man you are, Kizaru, end quote. It seems like Megapunk also knows Kizaru is a good guy at heart, and he seems to be driving attention like I've been doing to the disconnect in his actions. Like I've been saying, this internal struggle has to come to a head, and I hope it will lead to Kiso choosing to help the good guys and his friends versus the evil spider elder demon. If Blackbeard can have Kuzan, then I think Luffy can have Kizaru. It would go perfectly with the parallels between Luffy and Blackbeard since the beginning. And if you think about it, what admiral would work better for the sun god than the Admiral of Light? Think about it. It just writes itself at that point. Kizaru clearly recognizes the truth in Megapunk's words. He has a sad expression and it seems he's about to tear up. He says, I should have brought darker sunglasses. Presumably, what he meant by this is that darker sunglasses would hide his tears. or at least his sad expression. In the last page of the chapter, Saturn orders the Buster Call to start on Egghead Island. We can see all marine ships preparing to start the attack. So we are fast approaching the end of this incident, and I'm hoping that we get Kizaru join the Straw Hats and not just him staying behind to hold off Saturn or something. Either way, exciting stuff. And I must say, an epic charter. There will be a charter next week too, no break. So make sure you're subscribed so you know the second that drops. Like if you enjoy, and if you did, you don't want to.